Thank you very much, Prashidhi Ghimire, for your wonderful presentation. Timiko hau tha bhayena, ma chahi Nepali. Now, almost end of the program. Hami lagbhag antyama chhau. From the chairperson's speech, for the keynote speech, the podium I want to share with the chairperson of today's program, Dr. Tilak Rawal sir. I would like to request him to come on the podium. Tilak sir.
Thank you, Jay Gordon. Chairperson of this program, Dr. Poon. Special guest, Professor Gurung, Dr. Bishta, and all other dear and respected friends on the podium, ladies and gentlemen, my dear students. I think I'll be taking only about 10 minutes. Long speeches are really tiring and they tend to lead to mental and physical fatigue. Mental fatigue is more dangerous than physical fatigue. I understand that, so I'll try to be very brief in my deliberation today. Our friends requested me to make some observations today also. I was not prepared for it because in a similar program about a week ago organized to warrant and welcome fresher in management studies, I had given a speech, and many of us who were present then and who are present today will find a mere reiteration of what I spoke then. I'm trying to say that whatever I'm going to speak today is not going to be something new, but friends who were present there, like Principal Joshi, Dr. Paneru, and others, will find these observations of mine today a mere reiteration of what I spoke then about a week ago. I would like to start by welcoming the new students to this college. Let me delve a bit into the past. As soon as we started some 11, 12 years ago, this college, which was then a Sikh college, we also talked about starting science education also. We simply were toying with the ideas. And I used to, often discuss these matters with Dr. Oja, who was not a PhD holder then, and Dr. Bishta, who was also not a PhD holder then, about it, give my opinion. And, I can't get into micro details. I can simply give my opinion, you have to do the rest. So we decided not to. Now, I'm happy that it has become a reality now. This building was there. We talked about capacity utilization and all that. And I told them, how are you going to use it? With the new building there, you see, we had this problem of capacity utilization. So now I'm happy that our friends, took the right step at an appropriate time, and we have you dear students here today. You have chosen a very right, institution. And I thank you, and I also thank your parents, for making the decision and that way reposing the confidence in us. I'm going to, suggest or advise you to follow certain things. Just 3-4 points. First of all, you see, time is a very, very important resource, like money, land, labor, whatever, right? Time is a very, very important, resource. Make the best use of it. In economics, we talk of allocative efficiency. When you have to make proper, allocation of factor inputs, then we tend to do it in an optimal fashion, keeping at the back of our head the allocative efficiency aspect. So you, dear students, also should learn to make the best possible use of the time available, you see. I'm not trying to say that you should spend the entire time you have at your disposal, in studying, doing this and that. We don't want you to be bookworm, right? You have to find time for other activities as well, like dancing. See, our students, dance so well. And entertainment, you see, is there. You have to find some time for entertainment also. But don't let your time go waste. Make very, productive use of the time you have at your disposal. That is the most important resource. Don't forget. And second point I would like to touch upon is, learning. You should always have the willingness to learn more and more. In fact, your appetite for, learning, should not end. I said last time also, and I would like to repeat it again today, that, you should have an insatiable appetite for learning, new skill, knowledge. In fact, you should try to learn and gather new knowledge, irrespective of your educational attainment, no matter how high you go. But your desire, your your thirst for, new knowledge and skills should not be quenchable. You should always be on the lookout to get something new, to learn something new. So learning, should be always there. And always learn to appreciate others' good work. It could be, written or, spoken Nepali, English, right? Or even dancing, right? When I see my students, or student dancing so, well, in such wonderful steps on the stage, I, ask myself deep within my heart, I wish, I could dance as well. And when I, hear people, my colleagues, on the GCM staff doing some good work, like, Dr. Paneer who is speaking in English, or Jay Gordel speaking in English, I, feel, I wish, I could speak as well. Even at this age, I'm an old man, and the desire to learn something new has not ceased, right? You young students, never cease to remain a learner. And never cease to, appreciate, never stop to appreciate others' good work. And always make the best possible use of the time you have at your disposal. So these three things, or four things you should never, forget. Now we talk of, science students and scientists, and professors, people always, try to think that scientists or science students, doctors, engineers, they cannot lead an agency, they cannot, lead a nation. No, that's not correct, But I find that, scientists, medical students, engineers, they shy away from taking challenges. For example, our scientist, Mr. Poon, he's not interested in these kind of things. He's deeply immersed in his own scientific, work. If you ask him to, lead a nation, an organization, let alone nation, he will say, no, thank you. But I want to urge, from this stage, that people like, Dr. Poon should not shy away, from taking the challenging responsibilities. Who says that medical doctors cannot, lead, modern days organizations? I'll give you an example. A South Korean medical doctor, a medical practitioner from South Korea, became the first non-American president of the World Bank. He was a doctor. You will have to remember, dear student, that there are not laws or written rules and regulations, but by practice, it has been, practiced that the president of the World Bank has to be always an American. And the managing director of International Monetary Fund has to be an European, right? But for the first time, a South Korean medical doctor became the president of the World Bank, and he ran the organization very, very well. And you don't have to go far. Look at, Mahathir, Dr. Mahathir of Malaysia. He's a medical doctor too. What he did to Malaysia, decades ago. He did so well to the country that he was wanted back to be at the helm of affairs, by the Malaysian people. And at 92, 93, he is running the show in Malaysia. So who says doctors cannot lead the nation? Who says engineers cannot, lead the nation? In fact, the modern days, challenges are there, and science students have to see to it that you will rise to the occasion and take, the lead in organizing different organizations, not only organization, but the nation as well. You can do that easily. There are problems, you see, because I checked with Professor Shekhar Gurung and also renowned scientist, Mr. Poon. Mr. Poon made an observation about Kennedy's observation made long ago. Now, I also, as a young student then, had heard that in space exploration, Soviet Union was ahead of the United States of America. That made Kennedy very jealous. And without proper consultation with the scientist, as said by our scientist, Mr. Poon, he declared that, we'll send our people to the moon. And Neil Armstrong, was the first person to set his foot on the moon. They succeeded, And there was a period of Cold War between then Soviet Union and the United States. It was about, I think it was over after the disintegration of the Soviet Union. But a new form of Cold War is there again. Only the players, only a player is different. Before it was between the United States and Soviet Union. Now it is between the Soviet Union and China. You see? So Soviet Union is no more there, Russia is not there. You must have heard about the trade war between the United States of America and in China, On the surface level, we tend to believe that it has got to do only with, trade. No, it's very complex. It's for global supremacy. And it's going to continue for, I don't know, some more years to come. So the world is becoming tougher and tougher and competitive day by day. You have lots of problems, you see. You have lots of problems, to solve, But don't shy away, my dear students. When you have problems, problems don't come alone. Along with problems, come opportunities. There are also, opportunities in abundance for good students like you to rise to the occasion and do something meaningful in life. So don't shy away. Don't be, little bit disappointed when you hear of different kind of problems, you see. Of course, there are problems, A lot of progress has been achieved in medical science and in other, scientific areas. But you have problems of different nature coming up, emerging over time, right? As a student, as a young student of your age, I never heard of HIV/AIDS. What was it? We didn't know. But now everybody knows about this killer disease, right? HIV/AIDS. Now you have a new disease called Ebola, right? Which I gather has, taken the lives of more than 1,700 people in Congo and is spreading. See, these kinds of new diseases, are there, And on the economic front also, there are several other problems, And in fact, the scientists will have to take the lead to guide the economist, guide the management expert, You have to take up. And just get rid of the idea that scientists, to be specific, medical doctors, engineers, they can't take the lead. You have to take the lead. Because you can lead the nation towards prosperity. Countries, which have got good leadership and which were lucky enough in the past to get good leadership have done very, very good, despite the fact that they didn't have adequate resources, natural resources, Singapore, what did it have? It was a small, fishing town some 40, 50 years ago. I don't know, right? South Korea, what did it have? Look at Israel, look at Taiwan, right? See, they don't have, still don't have much resources. But where they are and where we are, these countries that these leaders govern, and the people of these countries were lucky, to get such leadership. They manage the economy properly and they govern their countries properly. That's why their people are enjoying a very, very respectable, quality of life in their countries. So you have to take the lead, There has to be a change. People working in scientific areas, medical science, and other areas have rise to the occasion, and they should not fail to, take the leadership. Should there be an opportunity? And I know there will be an opportunity because the countries, including Nepal, want a change. They don't want, bluster, They don't want, leaders to keep people in illusion. They need, proper food to get into their belly, and they need proper clothing to cover their body with. What has happened to China? I told it last time also, and I have no hesitation in repeating it, that when I was a student, I used to hear about China, different nasty things, right? They don't get to eat good food. They don't get to eat good clothes and all that. Maybe what was said then was not true in its entirety, but maybe 50-60% of what was publicized then was true. But now look at China. What has happened to China? It's exporting capital, and it is negotiating with the most powerful country in the world, which is also the number one economy in the world, from a position of strength. China is engaged in a tough bargain with the United States of America from a position of strength, you see. So how fast the time has changed, you see. We used to hear different nasty things about China. Now, there is competition amongst different countries. There is competition between the United States of America and the European Union countries, and also Australia, and so many other countries in the world to get more and more Chinese capital. If you have the good leadership, you can bring about meaningful changes for the betterment of your people. So, before I end, I would like to tell you students and or, very respected, gentlemen, especially two gentlemen on the dais, that they should not shy away from taking major responsibilities. And they should not shy away from, keeping people like me, we are just generalist economists, management experts. We believe in, talking about different things, which are mostly not put into practice also. You must have heard when there are two economists, there are three opinions, on a particular issue. So they have to take the lead and teach us something new, and tell us how the nation can be driven towards a direction of prosperity. And my dear students, you have come to the right organization, and your parents also deserve our, gratefulness, and a big thank you for choosing this organization, for deciding to invest on your, boys and girls. But you don't have to worry, irrespective of the huge sum that you have already spent and will be spending on your, sons and, daughters for another 2 years. I tell you, the investment in human capital is the best form of capital, best form of investment, And no other kind of, investment can assure you a matching return. 30-40% return on your, investment will not match the return that you will be getting on your investment in human capital. And my dear students, don't disappoint your parents. Don't disappoint your parents. I want you to be the rising stars of this country in days to come. And not only your parents, your family, and not only your college, but the whole nation will pride on you in days to come. Thank you very much.